Vance apparently gave Trump advice on handling the Iran threat while he was in Los Angeles. And I'm sure he said something, nice about immigrants, like some I assume are good people.
At the beginning of the administration, the idea was worse first, right? Targeting the worst of the worst criminals.
Sure.
You guys are still doing that, but we're also starting to see Home Depots getting hit, car washes, agriculture workers.
Yeah, but you don't understand. Like, people who wash cars and work at Home Depots and try to, get pickup jobs and stuff, they are the worst of the worst.
Is the net widening?
Yes, we're focusing on the most
That was a weird fucking edit.
violent criminals. We're focusing on people who came here illegally over the Biden administration. But put simply, if you came into the country illegally, if you're not a legal resident of the United States of America, you ought to go back home and come through proper channels.
So basically,
Right. So this idea that they're going to, there are 11,000 murderers or whatever roaming around or whatever, I'm sure they're out there. We'll find them eventually. But meantime, we're going to scoop up a bunch of fucking farm workers and kids with cancer and boot them the fuck out. Right. Because we can't find them, because that number doesn't exist, because it was always a lie.
it's what Tom Homan has said repeatedly. If you're in the U.S. illegally, you're on the table.
If you're in the U.S. illegally, you are at risk of deportation.
What's your metric?
And by the way, the slice up edit in this is very odd. At least they make a big deal of it. They're not doing a reverse cut, so they're hiding the fact that they're editing his answers down to some sort of like palatable Whitman sampler of bigotry.
For determining how long the military is going to be here in Los Angeles. Things are calm right now. Are you going to keep them here for a while in case there's more activity? When do you pull them out?
Well, I think what the president says, you got to do this case by case, right? See how this goes. See where we are in a few days. Ensure that you don't have the increase in rioting activity.
We didn't have increase in rioting activity until these motherfuckers showed up.
Pull out the troops when we feel confident that level of instability is not going to return. But of course, when that happens and when the president makes that decision, of course, it's easy to put people back in if you feel like that rioting starts to ramp up again.
There have been
yes, because Taco.
All sorts of articles and media reporting about this supposed rift in MAGA world and amongst Republicans about what to do with Iran. How do you see things right now?
And by the way, he was on which way in what would be the fake part of this whole thing that Kurt on Jimmy's show was talking about? Like, half these assholes are pretending to be against the Iran strike in MAGA, and then the ones that are pretending to be for it, and it's really just about money or whatever. So he's on the fake half that was against it.
Look, what the president said is so perfect about this. I think he gets to define America first because he's the person who ran, who was elected, and who actually leads this movement. And for all of the
so again, you guys, maggots, you need to shut up and suck it. That's it. There is no make America great again is whatever the fuck he wants it to mean. It doesn't actually mean that he wants to make America great again. It's whatever story he wants to tell you. And you know what part you play in it? You know what share of this is your responsibility? Fucking zero. You march. That's what you do, maggots.
Line chatter, what I see, and I've seen it very privately, of course, and I've seen it very publicly, the president is very focused on a core American national interest. And that national interest is the state of Iran should not have a nuclear weapon.
So how long?
That's a core national interest for us? I mean, is it a core national interest with North Korea? Because they've actually threatened us too, I guess, right? Are they next?
How long do you give diplomacy a chance to work before it's time to drop a bunker buster?
Look, the president has to answer that.
Too late.
Question, right? And
this is 2 days ago.
I think that what he said is he's going to pursue diplomacy until he thinks that there isn't an opportunity. And once
that meant Saturday night,
he decides that diplomacy has completely run its course, that we're not going to get anything out of additional talks, then I think the president is going to do what he needs to do to end Iranian enrichment and end that Iranian nuclear program. Again, the president will make that final decision. I do think that we're running out of time, but as the president said yesterday, he wants to give it a little bit more time.
That was a lie, by the way. This is, I think, from Saturday when this was occurring. So either he didn't know this was going to happen that night, which is probably more the reality because he was against it. They probably kept him in the dark until he was summoned to the White House for the Situation Room to actually see it happen. So they acted like it was a regular meeting. He was not in on the conversation. He was excluded as soon as he turned out to be against it in any way.
To see what diplomacy can accomplish.
Obviously, a lot of people in President Trump's ear giving him advice.
Sure.
Whether it's the military,
Yeah, couch jumping.
his cabinet, you yourself. What advice are you giving him?
The advice that I'm giving him is, sir, trust your instincts. He's got the best instincts of any president I've ever seen, of any political leader that I've ever seen.
He's the only one you've ever seen. Like up close. Like your view of it is Biden's were way better. We didn't get into the situation. And Obama actually had us a deal before Trump wrecked it.
I think that he knows when diplomacy has run its course, and he'll know when ultimately he has to employ the American military to make sure that Iran.
Sorry, how ceasefire what? Yeah, I know. We covered that at the top. Trump announced it.
Doesn't have a nuclear program.
You said you think
The question is it real? That was, by the way, in case you're wondering, this is the congratulations to everyone. It's been fully agreed on by there will be a ceasefire. I call bullshit, but
running out of time. The president says he wants to take about 2 weeks to think about it. Is that within your range?
Well, I think, as the president said, he's not going to tell anybody exactly when or what he's going to do. He's going to continue working this process. He's going to let the diplomatic process unfold. And in the meantime,
yes, it unfolded about 12 hours.
Of course, the president of the United
Trump said there's a ceasefire between Iran and Israel on Truth Social, which I got to say sounds like bullshit.
States can do whatever he needs to do whenever.
Like there's no way. It's just silly.
He needs to do it to keep the American people safe.
So that was his little statement. And let's see. I'm going to jump in here. I'll see if there's been an update in this regard. Let's see. There's a couple of things. 1 second. Let's see. Yep, not seeing it there right now. Hold on 1 second. And I imagine the Times will probably have it, or Axios probably will jump on it. Trump announces Iran-Israel ceasefire. That's exactly what we saw. So I'm showing you the exact same thing that they're showing you. Trump wrote on Truth Social that the ceasefire begins at 12 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, Israel and Iran will complete their final military missions that are in progress. That's the thing I read before. Congratulations to everyone. There will be a complete and total ceasefire. Trump said the war had gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never, could have, but it didn't and it never will. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. Yeah. This is just this announcement. I don't know that we're hearing this from anybody but him, which is a bit fucking weird. Like, because the presumption would be, I think, that we would hear it from both of these countries. Yes? Yeah. Trump announces tentative Israel ceasefire. That's Bloomberg's writing on it, which is President Trump announced that Israel and Iran had agreed to tentative ceasefire in the conflict. Trump made the surprise announcements on the Truth Social on the assumption that there's no immediate comment from Iran or Israel on Trump's post. Vance said the president had been working the phones constantly Monday with the goal of getting an agreement. Details of the timing of each side would stop fighting weren't immediately clear from his post. As Trump made the announcement, Iranian media reported powerful explosions in Tehran and several other cities. Meanwhile, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Tehran is not seeking to escalate tensions, but is prepared to respond to any further U.S. aggression. So basically, maybe Trump's just saying we're not going to do anymore until we do. His announcement came just hours after Iran fired those missiles, but they said oil plunged on relief that Tehran's measured response offered a prospect of easing tensions. Trump posted, "Congratulations, world, it's time for peace." Hello, world, it's a song that you're singing. Vance said they can't have this. Iran's existing stock of highly enriched uranium was buried by the attack. If Iran is desperate to build a nuclear weapon in the future, then they're going to have to deal with a very, very powerful American military. Iran's move on money appeared to be largely symbolic retaliation. Plenty of warning was given. Qatar shut its airspace, and the U.S. issued warnings to citizens. And then this is the number of people in the bases around there. Bahrain, which hosts a U.S. naval base in the United Arab Emirates, also closed their airspace late Monday. I got to say, until Iran and Israel announced this, oh, wait, hold on. Iran responds. Is this it? U.S. attacks nuclear sites in Iran, widening. Oh, okay, no. Bomber struck 3, Iran's 3. Okay, Is there an update in this? Trump launched those strikes. Nope. Okay, that's just their older one. Sorry. Nope. So until they actually say something, I call bullshit. Just saying. I can't think of a reason to trust Trump on this particular instance. Also, especially considering this. Vance hints that uranium was moved after Trump tipped off Tehran. Maybe that's why they want to make a deal, because he already did. Maybe we already had a deal and it was all bullshit. Like, hey, I'll pretend to do something. You guys pretend to do something. We'll both look like tough guys and Russia won't get mad at either one of us. Vance raised major questions about the success of the U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear facilities after suggesting Tehran's near bomb-grade uranium was moved before the attacks. Israeli sources were quoted as saying that Iran moved as much as 880 pounds of uranium enriched to 60% purity from a secure nuclear storage facility in the ancient city of Isfahan. Iran had made no secret that they have protected this material. And while Trump's press secretary said a high degree of confidence that they took out Iran's uranium stockpile, Vance seems to suggest the opposite. We're going to work in the coming weeks to ensure that we do something with that fuel, and that's one of the things that we're going to have conversations with the Iranians about, he said this week. Which again, I got to call bullshit on that being a thing.